good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. I'm going to be talking a lot about how to build wealth, how to not live paycheck by paycheck, how to live within your means and stay out of debt. In this world today, I find it to be very challenging. We have so many things at us constantly. Buy this. If you have a credit card, you're free to do whatever you want. You deserve vacations, and on it goes. So it can be very challenging. I hear a lot of people saying that they feel that budgets just don't work. They feel, I don't make enough money to worry about a budget. That's a really common one. And I'm here to say that whether you make a lot or a little, budgets are definitely a tool to use so that you can tell your money where to go and you can build and save and spend. So the first thing I want to start off with is you have to be aware of what or how you behave with money. So it's the same old, if you're in denial constantly and you're just blaming other people and you're saying, I just don't make enough, instead of saying, okay, how am I behaving with money? Is it my problem? Is maybe I'm not budgeting, I'm not managing or behaving well with money. It's an area that a lot of people seem to stay in denial of. So I'm here to say that there are 4 different behavioral styles I'm going to talk about, and I really feel you need to be very open with yourself as to where you are on the grid. So awareness is key. You have to be aware of your behavioral style with money. Once you're aware, then you can accept that. You can say, okay, yes, I am great with money. I save lots, but I don't really live life too much. I'm always home. I never go out. I want to just save. And that's not healthy either. I love to spend money. I constantly want to spend money. So those are the 2 opposite ends. So it's the middle of the scale that we want to get to. We want to save, we want to spend. And so you can accept, okay, that's who I am. What do I do about that? Where do I go from there? So that's where you then have to adapt, and you have to bring in tools to help you with the type of behavior that you have. For the ones who love to spend, they tend to be where they don't want to do a budget, because then they feel they're constricted, and they're usually like free-spirited people, and they want to just go, and they're very social. They're very outgoing, and what I say about that is they're always out and their money is going. So they have to have certain tools that are different from the ones that, let's say, all they know how to do is save. They've been told save their whole life. So being aware is important so you can accept who you are, and who you are is okay. There's nothing wrong with who you are. It's just you have to make sure you have the right tools to help you adapt to that behavioral style. So let's get into some of the behavioral styles. So one of the behavioral styles is they're considered, this is a DISC, personality characteristic behavioral style that I'm going to be using. And the first one is considered a D. And Ds tend to be very direct. They're very dynamic, good leaders. And they tend to know when to strike when the iron is hot. They tend to have the ability to see and seek opportunity. And I would say most times it goes well. There's probably the odd thing that they may do that doesn't go well, but they tend to have that feeling like this is a good opportunity, I'm gonna go with it. And they do quite well. But they are very much bottom line people, like give me the results, bottom line oriented. So doing the budget up isn't a problem for them, but it's really just, they just want to have like a bottom line. Okay, what's the amount I can spend and how much do we need to save? And that's what they go after. So they're not too bad with money. They tend to be always making money on their money because those are the opportunities. They always seek opportunities. So Then the next behavior we call is an I. And the high I is a behavior where it's constantly, I want to have fun. They are the fun people of the world. And they are fun to go out with, but you better have a good budget for that behavior because they are constantly out and about and they're very relational. So they're always about meeting up with people and friends and going to either a party or, going out to eat at a restaurant, or they want to go see a movie. And of course, this behavior style, you can see, costs a lot of money. And no matter whether you're one that wants to go out all the time or one that wants to stay in all the time, I think there has to be a boundary in how much you spend or save in both those areas. So for instance, the one who always wants to go out and have fun, the high I that I'm talking about, there's nothing wrong with that, but there has to be a limit because they tend to do a lot of impulse buying and they tend to go bankrupt a couple times maybe in a lifetime because they don't know where the boundary is on when to stop spending or having a budget and saying this is our limit and that's all I get, so I need to work my social life around that budgeted amount. They feel restricted, but at the same time it's the only way that they are ever going to have a life where they're not living paycheck to paycheck, and they will then eventually have freedom. I used to teach a Dave Ramsey course and he always said, live like no one else, so then you can live like no one else. This behavioral style I'm talking about, those are the ones that really need to grasp that. This is not a lifelong journey that they would have to stay on if they learned how to spend within their budgeted fun money. That's all they would get is their fun money allowance every month. They would not be able to ever go above that, but they would have to learn how to live within that. And that's like living within your means, which for some people, that's an easy task. But for others, like this high I personality behavior style, it is so difficult for them because they love to have fun. So they need more tools, and I'll get into those a little later. The next one is a high S. They are the most compassionate people. They love stability. They want predictability. They tend to worry a lot about the future, which can create a lot of anxiety. So to eliminate the future fear of the, maybe not having enough money, they tend to do well with budgets once you set them up. Once you give them that path and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is how much you get, how much you spend. These are all the accounts. They will follow it amazingly. Like they will not have a problem following a budget. Yes, they may be mixed in with, say, another behavior style. So if they have like where they want to go out and have fun, then again, they're going to have a fun set up for them. But at least if they know the future of what their finances are going to look like, they tend to do quite well at following that budget. And then we have the high C, which are very analytical, detailed, very cautious, careful savers. Some would say C is for cheap. I say maybe they're just frugal, a little bit more than any other of the behavioral styles. They tend to like to be alone, so to not go anywhere and not do too much and spend is perfectly fine with them. But they do tend to hoard money, and that's not a good thing either. You want to experience life. And if they're married to someone who wants to have fun, then we're in trouble because they're always going to be saying, let's go out, and she's always going to be saying, let's stay in, let's save, and they're spend. So it can be a bit of a conflict. So that's where budgeting just brings it all in and says, okay, this is how much you get to spend every month. This is how much I get to spend or save every month. And it makes for a much more peaceful marriage within the financial area of the marriage. So that personality, though, they tend to research a lot when something's on sale. And I always kind of get a kick out of it because they'll research for so long. If it's a barbecue, let's say, on sale, they will research that barbecue to find out the reviews and how good it is. And by the time they gather up all their findings, most likely the sale's over or they've run out of barbecues. And again, they feel great because they've just saved money and it probably wasn't meant to be, but really it's because they've taken so long to make a decision. But that's because they're so cautious and careful on how they spend their money. Not a bad thing. I think if I would want one out of the two, whether I spend lots and have fun or, you know, would save and go nowhere, I think I would choose that one. That isn't who I am though, but that's, I think, one that at least, you know, you'll build lots of, you know, cash. The only problem though is they don't tend to invest well because they want to hoard it. It's like putting it under the mattress for a rainy day, and they tend to keep it, you know, in a very low risk, so you're not making a lot on your return because they're so cautious. And that can be a bit of a problem too, because you do want to make money on your money. So it is important to be with someone you trust as an advisor for that personality or behavioral style too. They need to really be with somebody that they trust so that they can put their money and make money on their money. So those are the 4 behavioral styles. Now you can have more than one. You can actually have up to 3. You can even have all 4, and you'll know when to be, you know, assertive, maybe aggressive. With the high D, they're more aggressive, abrupt people, but they also know when to be compassionate. They know when to save. They know when to spend. They know when to have fun, when to stay home. They're a pretty balanced individual. I can honestly say I haven't met one yet. Well, Jesus maybe is, but I haven't really met anyone with all those characteristics in balance. We tend to be 2 high ones and then maybe a couple of low ones, but whatever that is that comes out, at least that test, you can do a test to find out what you are. I think it's really important to do, because then you'll know exactly how you are with money. And if you're in denial of it and we do the test and you see that, yes, I am a spender, then we can implement tools to help you navigate that. So I think it's important that you understand your behavior. Behavior is the reason you have money or you don't have money. It's not that you don't make enough. Through the years of being an accountant, I can honestly say I've seen people that make, say, $200 a year and have absolutely no money. And I've seen people as a family putting kids through university only making $50 a year, and they contribute to RSPs, they donate, they've put their kids through university. They know how to make their money work. So it's not how much you have, it's what do you do with what you make. So that's really, really important. And I think that's where your behavior is important to understand so that you can work with that. So accept it and adapt to it. So those are the 4 behavioral styles.